There are some things that the president can do without Congress, mostly in foreign policy, and that's exactly where I think Dr. Paul is off the reservation and basically off his rocker.
Why do you think he's off his rocker?
In foreign policy?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that in a complicated world, the world or the United States would be better or safer if we withdrew all of our foreign bases. I don't think it's a good idea in Korea. I don't think it's a good idea in Europe without the cooperation. Now, reducing our forces in Europe, we already have, by the way, we should reduce them more. And I'm not at all opposed, as I think most people are not opposed, to reasonable cuts in defense spending. But the idea that the United States can go back to a situation, it's actually a situation that hasn't existed for a very long time, where we only have military resources in the mainland United States, would be very problematic. It'd be problematic for the world economic system, which we are dependent on, and because we're the leading power in it.
Do you think that our national security would be in peril if we abandoned these bases and just defended ourselves from the United States?
Yes, I do. I think it's very clear that it would be. When
So what about Russia? Do they have bases all over the world?
They actually do have a number of foreign bases, and they have a big, a fairly substantial two-ocean navy.
Right, but we have like 200 some bases around the world.
Right, and again, not
what
all.
About China?
Not all of them are necessary. China is devoting a great deal of military resources to building up its Pacific fleet.
But how many bases do they have in the rest of the world?
I don't know,
okay.
Frankly.
And is their national security in peril because they don't have bases around the world? I'm trying to understand.
No, it's a very simple thing. The United States is the leading power in the world, and we are the policemen of the world. And I know that that's an unpopular thing to say, but the world economic system, the free flow, for instance, of oil, can only be sustained with the leadership of the United States. We recently had a situation where, because Britain imposed sanctions on Iran, there was a threat to close the Strait of Hormuz. The British Navy, without the United States, would not be able to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. That would mean something very close to a world economic collapse. And the idea that the United States should go back to a situation where we look at the Atlantic and Pacific as our two water walls is a bad idea.
Is anybody paying us for being the policemen of the world? Because it seems like a pretty ungrateful job. We have all these bases, we have to spend all this money, our young men and women die,
well, first of all, when you say we have to spend all this money, I mean, one of the things that I think has been irresponsible about the campaign has been there are gross exaggerations about how much we spend on our total defense budget.
How much do we spend?
We spend right now about 4.5% of our GDP.
That would be about how many billion dollars?
$660 billion.
I thought it was 800 billion. But
no, it's because of recent cuts, it's projected for this year $660 billion.
How much does
it's a lot of money.
How much does Russia spend?
No, Russia, but again, the United States isn't Russia, and I don't think that
but
anyone...
is their national security in peril because they spend only 54 billion?
Again, they have a very, very different situation. Russia does not have international interests to the level of the United States.
Is anybody going to attack the United States if we don't have these bases?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How many nuclear missiles do we have?
Do you know what? Terrorists don't care about nuclear missiles.
That's right, but we have to have these bases because of the terrorists?
No, we don't have to have every single base. But again, you see,
I'm trying to understand, is it really necessary for a country to have bases all around the world in order for its security, for it to be secure and not to have its national security in peril?
If that nation is an international power, yes, it is. And if you don't understand that North Korea is a nightmare regime that is seriously dangerous, and by the way, there are probably times in the past where South Korea, which is the 7th largest economy in the world, would have been incinerated were it not for the fact that the United States guarantees its security. And we guarantee its security with 27,000 troops. I happen to believe that the Korean War, I know Dr. Paul, are you working for Dr. Paul, or what?
I am not working for Dr. Paul.
Are you campaigning for him?
I'm not campaigning for him either.
So what is
I'm just trying to get your thinking on why you think he's crazy.